This is a local train bound for Tomakomai.
Hey folks, welcome to another video on a bright day here in Hakodate on the southern coast of Hokkaido. Thought I'd bring you along with me for this video. I'm going to be making my way up to Chitose, close to Sapporo to the airport, and I'm going to take 2 days to do that, and I'm going to be stopping off at the town of Toya, kind of a town kind of halfway in between, and decided to stop off at this town just because the town has a lake, kind of looks like a donut, so I thought might as well on my way up there. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning now. I'm going to take the train at about 8:18. So come along and hope you enjoy this video, and we'll see what there is in Toya and Chitose. Hakodate is located on the southern tip of the island of Hokkaido, and since the introduction of the Hokkaido Shinkansen, it's also the very end of the JR Hokkaido's track. In the 1850s, this city was one of 3 to be opened up to international trade in Japan. The food and architecture of this area is a reflection of its international past. The other 2 cities were Yokohama and Nagasaki. The station had been renovated and has a ticket office and 7-Eleven on the first floor, and a couple of restaurants on the second. In Hokkaido, trips tend to be long, and like in Canada, distance is best measured in hours. So, with that being said, it's best to pack some provisions prior to jumping on board. Our transport for today is a single one-man car. These old, well-used iron horses keep passengers moving in the Japanese countryside, and this is it for the next 3 hours. And at 8:18, on the dot, we start making our way. Leaving the station, we see the colorful trains which belong to the South Hokkaido Railway, a spin-off company of JR Hokkaido, and was formed once the Shinkansen commenced operation on the island. It services 12 stations further south of Hakodate. Our goal over the next 2 days is to reach Chitose. For today's leg, we're planning on making to Toya. Our journey is going to take us a bit inland before following the coast of Uchiura Bay. We'll have to switch trains for the last little bit when we reach the end of the line with this one. These cars, built in the late 70s to early 80s, are very basic, though stepping back in time is part of the enjoyment. I felt that these box seats are more comfortable than some commuter trains in the city. The air is conditioned by the overhead fans or by your closest window, and there's one washroom at the end of the car. These rural lines are single-tracked, and as a local train, we'll stop at every station until we reach the end. Every so often, the train will take between a 10 and 15-minute break. It's a good chance to stretch your legs, step outside for a few moments, or to use the station toilet. Just make sure to jump back on board on time. Once the quicker express trains have passed, it's time to continue. It was difficult to get some good footage through the dense Hokkaido bush, but intermittently, lovely views are offered, such as of Komagatake and the wonderful lake Onuma. Things open up a bit once we start to follow the coast of the bay and pull to stop number 2. So we're in the town of Mori right now. Train stopped for about 13 minutes. Still, we're just about an hour and a half in, so another hour and a half to go on this train before we switch to one more. Alright, so fast forward 3 hours and we made it to Oshimambe Station, and this is where 2 lines meet, so the train stopped, and we're going to jump on this express train just for the last little bit. If you have the JR Pass or the JR Hokkaido Pass, you can take the express train right from Hakodate, and it's only 2 hours or less than 2 hours. It saves you a bunch of time, but I don't have the pass, so I'm doing the cheaper option. Anyways, we're going to jump on this train for the last little bit, and then we'll be in Toya Station, and we'll be almost at the lake. These express trains are the quickest and most comfortable way between communities. The fully air-conditioned cars are quite welcomed on a hot, sunny July day. The seats are very similar to what we've experienced in other express trains, and the seatback provides all the quintessential elements. Happily, the washrooms are also a step up on these trains. Now, since I only bought a local ticket from Hakodate to Toya, I simply had to pay a small express fee to the conductor on board. So just made it to Toya Eki. It's just about past noon here, so the train was really fast, maybe about 20 minutes. We just got to jump on a bus to get to the lake, and the travel's all done for today, so let's go ahead and do that. Made it to the lake, dropped off the bags. The hotel is not quite check-in time, but at least we can drop it off and walk down to the lake here, and you can see the island in the middle, and it's really dead quiet here. Obviously, the tourism industry's kind of been whacked a little bit, so it's very quiet, but fantastic, gorgeous day today. Just a slight breeze, and it's about 12:30, and I'm hungry, so I'm gonna find a little nibble to eat. So it looks like the town around the lake has a lot of outdoor activities. There's lots of walking trails inland and around the lake, and by the lake there's also a lot of activities as well. We rented a couple bicycles. There was 500 yen, so $5 for 2 hours, and there's a path that goes along the lake, so we're doing at least part of it just because it's a nice day and cover more ground. And there's lots of, I guess, art space throughout the park, such as that guy over there, and yeah, there's lots of outdoor activities and great for a nice summer's day. Alright, so we checked into the hotel, and we're staying at a Japanese style hotel. It's an onsen hotel, so there's a hot spring downstairs, but this is what a kind of a standard Japanese room looks like if you haven't ever been to one. Normally the futons are not made for you. I've never seen the futons made like they were when we came in, and usually you just have to make it yourself. Usually the table's just in the middle, and you just have to go to the closet and get everything out and make it. So that's one thing, and usually you'll always find that this container with the green teas and stuff like that. I'd never been to one that had coffee, so if you like coffee, like myself, for your morning, it's a good idea just to jump to like a 7-Eleven and grab a little canned coffee or something like that, which you can do here. But yeah, other than that, the room is fairly has all the other all the regular amenities that you get, like a TV, a fridge, a kettle, everything that you need there. But anyways, yeah, that's it for today, and then tomorrow we continue on our way to Chitose. So today's day 2. I'm just at the bus terminal, about to grab a bus back to Toya Station so we can grab a train to Chitose, or 3 trains, or however many it's going to take. I really like this town with all the outdoor activities, and what I didn't know about the town was that, number one, it was host to the G8 back in 2008, and they have a little museum place above the bus terminal tourist, where you can look at memorabilia and take a picture of your favorite politician of that decade. But it's also a UNESCO geopark due to the volcanic and geological activity of this area and formation. So that's really interesting to see. Anyways, let's jump on the bus and make our way to Chitose. So once we got to the station, we had about an hour before the train arrived. So what we did is we just walked around, and there's a 7-Eleven, and we found this small shop that had cantaloupe ice cream. The melon ice cream was really good. And my train's just about to come here now, as you can hear the ding. So let's go jump on the train and continue our way to Chitose. Our first train of the day is identical to what we used yesterday. Today's journey is not terribly far, but we do change trains several times with rather long stopovers, but no rush. The first train is going to take us to Higashi Muroron Station, and it was another stunning day. One could not ask for any better weather. I absolutely love just to relax and watch the world go by. Our first stop for today is Higashi Muroron Station. And I remembered a couple years ago I was teaching English to this business lady in Tokyo, and she was from the town. And she mentioned that the local food here is a curry ramen. And just outside the station there was a curry shop and I had it, and that memory came back to me. So I knew I had to try it, and it was fantastic. Nice hearty broth with some good noodles. Definitely something good for Hokkaido winter for sure. But yeah, it was fantastic. Anyways, the next train is going to be here in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to jump back into the station on the platform and we'll go on to train number 2. We upgraded to a 2-car train for our next leg, and being slightly newer than the previous car was air conditioned. I also enjoyed how the train had these smaller box seating for 1 or 2, in addition to the standard box seats for 4. The windows were fairly dusty on this particular train, so I wasn't able to enjoy the views to the fullest. But a siesta after lunch is always welcome. It appeared on this trip that JR Hokkaido allows for stopovers at their stations. We were able to exit the gates at stops and then return. If you have a JR pass, this is of course no problem, but if you bought a standard ticket, just ask the station staff to stamp it for you. Then show your stamped ticket once you return. Our next and last stop of the day is Tomakomai. Roughly 30 kilometers south of Chitose, this port city offers ferry service to other destinations of the country further south. Our second stop for today here is in Tomakomai, and we have one more train to go. That's going to take us to Chitose. It's right behind me, and you can tell we're getting closer to the city. The train's getting a little bit longer, and inside it's more of a regular commuter train with the row seating as opposed to the boxing that we had on the last 2 trains and the trains yesterday as well. So one more train to go, leaving in about 10 minutes, and I think it's only about 20 minutes to Chitose. We're pretty close. So let's finish off the travel for today. These commuter trains are not terribly special, though this one does have, perhaps, the most yellow washroom I've ever seen. Wow, that's a lot of yellow. Since we're coming from the south, we pass by New Chitose Airport, which is my stop tomorrow. And soon enough, we finally see our end station on the screen. Alright, so we made it to Chitose Station finally. I hope you like this video, looking a little bit at rural Japan and Hokkaido, and seeing a little bit of local foods and what there is to offer. I really enjoy taking the local trains just because it's slower and you get to see maybe a little bit more than you do with the regular express trains. But other than that, I'm going to jump to the hotel now and get some rest before my flight tomorrow. And so I think I'll end it there. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys around next time.